Okay, so now we're moving into the identify and the implement section. So I hope you have some very, very good and exciting lists in front of you, and you really getting a feel of sort of better understanding yourself and better understanding your skill sets. So next, what we're going to be doing is really identifying some key actions that we can take to sort of see, can we start shifting the balance of things away from our zone of incompetence and zone of competence, and shifting more towards things that are in our zone of excellence and zone of genius. So the first thing that I would encourage you to do is, with your zone of incompetence tasks, remember identifying the ones that you were either going to skill up and you were going to try and make yourself competent or even excellent at, if you felt the inclination to do that, and think about the things that you want to reduce and you want to get rid of. So obviously the obvious thing with each of those is to put next to that what you would do to skill up. How could you improve your skills in that area and become competent at it if you so wish to do so? What some of us may want to do, and probably I'm kind of of the view, is if it's something I just know that I could practice, but it's not my passion and it's not anything that I want to become actually better at, and I don't in my life really need to. It takes up such a small part of my life that I don't really need to. There's a couple of options of things that you can do with these kind of tasks, and so with those that you want to kind of maybe reduce or get rid of if you can, there's a couple of different ways that you can look at reducing them. The first one is to think about, can I actually just eradicate it completely? Is there a way that I can just not have to do that anymore? This might be in a work environment where you can easily hand that particular part of a task over to somebody else who actually, that's maybe their zone of genius. Maybe they absolutely love doing that. Example could be, you've been on courses, you're trying to get spreadsheets to work, and this is just not my thing. I could do this for 10,000 hours and I still wouldn't enjoy it, and I still am not excited about it. But there could be somebody in your office equally who is amazing at spreadsheets. So could you come to some arrangement with them where you just stopped having to do that part of the task, and they have something, and it might be likewise that they have something they'd hand back to you that actually you don't mind doing, or you're incredibly competent at, or you're excellent at, or even is your zone of genius. So there could be this skill swap option. Again, it depends on your workplace, so it really does depend. But other things in life in general can be, maybe a task or an activity you just really don't like doing. It drags you down. It doesn't really energize you, but it needs to be done. Is there some way you can outsource it? So this is another of the options. So you have that you could eradicate it completely and be creative about that, and think, are there some things on your list that you want to eradicate? In which case, brainstorm out how you probably could do that, what kind of conversations you could have with maybe colleagues, or what kind of things can you do to maybe eradicate having to do it altogether. The other one is, if it is something, like I said, in the workplace environment where you can maybe outsource it, or even in your home you could outsource it, get somebody else to do it. So if you're a business owner and you have your accounts to do, there's accountants that can do that. They can do bookkeeping. If you find you're I always procrastinate on this, I always put it off, I don't like doing it, I don't like entering data and numbers and all of this stuff and scanning all the receipts in and things, can you find someone who can do that for you? Can you completely remove yourself from having to do it, but you're outsourcing it to somebody else who that is their zone of genius, that's their chosen profession, they love doing what they're doing, so why not pay them to be able to do it? And then you've got to look at, obviously, how do you come up with the finance to be able to do that? But if that is something that really drags you down and is pulling you away from doing the things that are in your zone of genius, for example, in your business or in your job, then surely it's better to keep you boosted and energized and motivated and working in areas that you really, really enjoy being, than being dragged down by these little tasks that really take up a lot of your day and you don't actually particularly enjoy and you find particularly difficult. So this is where we're starting to have a bit of a play with these sort of things that fall into your zone of incompetence. But until we identify them, we don't really know what they are. So now you've got your list, you can look at that. So first thing, obviously, is you could eradicate it. Second one is you could outsource it, so you get somebody else to do it for you. So you can either stop doing it completely if you feel it's unnecessary and you don't need to, or you can get someone else to do it. The final thing is, if you do actually need to do this task, but you don't particularly enjoy it and it is in your zone of incompetence, rather than scatter that task throughout your week and throughout your days, think about how can you consolidate that activity. So how can you combine it all together and then just do it. And do it in one batch all at a time. And that way you're sort of just bottling the moment of incompetence rather than spreading it out throughout your week. So Tim Ferriss famously consolidates everything, his post and everything. He just gets it sent to a mailbox, and then he goes to his mailbox like every 2 weeks and just does all of his mail and correspondence and everything like that. Similarly with things like email, you can do the same thing. You can just batch it, and you can just do it in a batch and be like, right, I'm done, shut Outlook, and then off you go and do something else. So that's another option. Something else with when you're looking at consolidate is also looking at, can I automate this? So can I do something to automate it? Can I put, for example, maybe you pay your bills manually, online every month. You get your bill and you have to sit down and you have to go through all your bills and you have to pay them. You can set up direct debits, and that's a way of automating something that previously was quite onerous and took up a lot of your time and you didn't really enjoy it and it was boring and whatever. You can actually find a way to actually automate it, and then you don't have to take care of it. And then what you can just do is obviously just check your bank statements every month to see how the direct debit's gone out and are they what you expected. So the thing to do here is pull up your list from all of your different zones and look through the zone of incompetence specifically, and also your zone of competence maybe, and look at, what are some of the things that you said you wanted to reduce or remove completely, and look at what are the things that what are the actions that I can take to kind of reduce that using the, eradicate, you can consolidate, you can automate them, you can outsource them. Think about what are some of these options, what are the key actions that I could take actually to reduce this. And then those that you want to skill up, have a think about, well, how would I go about doing that? How would I skill up on this particular task or activity or skill set that I have that I want to develop, and look at some clear, intentional, executable actions that you can take right now.